All right, so we're going to look at factorizing quadratics in case one. So that's where the second sign in our expression is positive. So if we're looking at our example, we have factorize x squared plus 5x plus 6. So step one, if the second sign in the expression is positive, which it is, then the signs in our brackets will match our first sign. So if we look at our first sign, it's a positive, so our signs in our brackets are both going to be positive. So step two, all it says is when there's no coefficient in front of our x squared term, then we can just write x in our brackets as the first terms, because those will not change, because there's only one way you can get x squared, and that is x times by x. Step three, we're going to write all the factor terms for the last term, so that is for term 6. But before we do that, I'm just going to copy our expression down so we have it when we're doing more work below. So what are all our factor pairs for our last term? Our last term is 6, so a factor pair are just two numbers that can be multiplied to find the number in question. So we have 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Notice, step 4, it says we want to add to get our middle number. So I'm just simply going to put an add between each of these. And so we get 7 and 5. So which number matches our middle number? Well, it's this row. So we have our 5. So we know that inside of our brackets are going to be 2 and 3. So I'm just going to fill these in our brackets that I already have there with 2 and 3. And it doesn't matter if we have x plus 2, x plus 3, or x plus 3, x plus 2, because it doesn't matter the way we multiply. Next, next example, we're going to factorize something that has a negative as our first sign and a positive as our second. So we know that our signs will match our first. So we're going to get this minus and minus. Just like in our last example, we had plus and plus. Now we're going to have minus and minus. Same case. And then we don't have a number in front of our x squared term. So we know that we can just write x minus, and we'll have to start writing out our factor pairs for our x squared minus 4x plus 4. So what are all the ways that we can make the number 4? Well, we can do 1 times 4 is 4, and we can do 2 times 2 is 4. So step 4 is where we add these together. So on top, 1 plus 4 is 5, and 2 plus 2 is 4. And we don't care about the sign in our expression at this point because we've already taken care of it. So we are just looking at, hey, what number can we get? Well, we want the 4, so we know that it's just going to be 2 and 2. So at that point, we're done. The only thing that we can do to take it one step further, and this is not a necessity right now, is we can notice that they're the same bracket, so we can write x minus 2 squared, just like when we were expanding. So at this point, there's some questions for you to do. So if you'd like to pause the video now, and then we'll continue on once you're ready. Okay, we're all back. So what we want to do to actually factorize these, first check. Do we have a coefficient out front of the x squared term? No. No, 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 no. What about our signs? Well, our sign for all these are plus, so we know between those two cases that we're going to have this x plus with all of them. So I'm just going to start that over on this right side just to save some time after. And I think it's great to show that no matter what, we're just going to follow this exact same process every time we do these problems. So that means that if you see this case, you are going to do this every single time. Just write x. Because if you notice, we do not have any coefficients. Might as well save ourselves some time. And one other thing that I said, well, we could do is we could write all of the signs in the middle actually right now if we really wanted to. So I think we might as well go right ahead and do that. So we know that they're going to match our first sign. So in our first expression, our first sign is a positive. so they're both going to be positive. Next one, they're positive, so they're going to both be positive. Third one, positive. Fourth one, they're negative. And fifth one, they're negative. So at this point, we're just looking for factor pairs. So the only way we can get the number 3 is 1 times 3 because it's prime, so you can fill in 1 and 3. Next, the only way we can get 2 is 1 times 2, so we know it's 1 and 2. Well, 12, we know we can do 1 and 12. Sorry, wrong color. We can do 1 and 12, we can do 2 and 6, and we can do 3 and 4. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So if we add these numbers together, we're going to get 13, 8, and 7. Oh, we're looking for 7, so we know it's going to be x plus 3, x plus 4. Now we're on our fourth one, the one in green. So we're doing, how do we make 6? Well, we've done that before. It's 1 and 6, which is 7, and 2 times 3, which ends up adding to 5. We're looking for a 5, so we know it's, once again, 2 and 3, much like one of our examples. And lastly, we are looking for 9, so we can do 1 times 9 is 9, or we can do 3 times 3. But if we add 1 and 9, we get 10, so we don't want that one. But if we add 3 and 3, we get 6, so we know it's x minus 3, x minus 3. So at this point, we're done this case. Next video, we'll deal with case 2.